Welcome, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Steady Show Live. Fernando, the first one in the building. Welcome. Let's go, family. Great show tonight. Face ugly like him, I walk witchcraft. I was the keys just like the Alfred Dawes. I see people liking the show already. Thank you so much. Let's go. Play Steady Show in the morning. Let's go, family. Let's go. Evening too. Dennis Garden, oil for inner tax fraud. In our parliament, but do help we law. PNP and no good people, we know them and no good people. If I never the help enough, we would do. Steady Show Live. Time come out them way back a time. Them tell PLA I try thief and just shine. All of them a devil and them forget mine. Get the 4 term, it a go blow them mind. Blow them mind, it a go blow them mind. Welcome back to the Steady Show, everybody. So we have a great topic that we're going to talk on tonight. We want to know, is Alfred Dawes, Mark Golding's political death sentence? Yes, that's what we're talking about tonight. So tonight, name Politics Tournament Thursday. And this means that we're going to talk about some real issues that are happening right now on the political front. So big up to everybody. Fernando, MDL, big up Marcia Fortis, big up yourself. Rose Henry in the building, big up yourself. Big up to everybody that's here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Welcome everybody. Luther Williams, Doreen, Black Obsidian, welcome everybody. So tonight is Politics Tournament Thursday. I know so you can't go a tournament if you can't read the play. In Politics Tournament Thursday, we probably can use Tuesday to since a T same way, right? We delve into some issues that are on the political trajectory, but it's not yet happening, right? We are not reacting to any news tonight, even though we saw where Dawes decided to tender a tactical apology. I don't know if anybody else saw that. Tactical apology. But let's talk about the topic tonight, right? Is Dr. Alfred Dawes, Mark Golding's death sentence. So we're exploring the idea of leadership showdown. You understand me? And it's Dawes versus Golding tonight because I saw something on Facebook about 2 days ago, and that same young lady who moved over from PNP to JLP, I played a piece of her stuff on the live. I believe it was a live on Friday or Saturday. One of them, right? Saturday, right? And she was talking about the fact that she's moved over, but she's looked at it and she said, hey, I believe that they're going to pick Damian over Dawes, right? For leadership. That's what the delegates are going to do. We know that leadership challenges are coming up. Big up to yourself and to the C, mister, and everybody. We know that, next year is supposed to be their conference and leadership challenge is likely to take place. Now, for the labor rights who don't like to delve into PNP business, let me say this at the outset, right? When we look at party leadership, just like we said in the case of Damon Crawford, we're not talking about country leadership, right? Today I put out a video and that talk about, basically showcase Manley and what he was going on with. I would tie that into what Cliff Hughes had to say about how much better things are now than then. And then we add Faval to the conversation that told us about the NIR and how good it's looking and how the NIR. So we're tying things together. We're looking at things. But one of the things we're going to do tonight, folks, I did this already and I'm going to do it again. We're going to do what is called a SWOT analysis, right? So the SWOT analysis is going to help us to identify where PNP was, what they were trying to accomplish, and it's going to show us how Dawes has now become a part of this conversation, right? So a SWOT analysis is used in businesses, organizations, You can even do it as an individual, right? A SWOT analysis means you do an analysis of your strength. Thank you so much, MDL. She likes the video, so please go ahead and watch the video today, right? So a SWOT analysis simply means you do an analysis of the S means strength, the W means weakness. Somebody says SWOT doesn't exist within them steady. All they have is weaknesses. I like it, Fernando. I like it, but we're still gonna do it, right? So we're talking about S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threats, right? So I'm gonna just go through them easily. So this is a good thing that you can use, if you're considering any kind of venture whatsoever. It's a good way to analyze it. What's the strength? If it's a business you're trying to pursue, you understand me? What is the strength of this idea? What's the weakness? You understand me? Opportunities to improve, and what are the threats that are out there? I mean, is this the right time? Is this the right idea? Are there other people who have better ideas, similar ideas, that kind of stuff, right? So we're going to look at the SWOT, but let's let somebody, this is about a 30-second video. Let's play this one.
Why a SWOT analysis is important for your business in 30 seconds or less. When looking to start or grow a business, doing a SWOT analysis helps you understand your business's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Let's get into them. Strengths are the things your company's great at, like having a strong team, unique product, or powerful messaging. Weaknesses are the things your business needs to improve on. These could be things like limited resources or inefficient workflows. Opportunities are your pathways to growth. Think new trends, industries, or untapped market share. And threats are the hurdles you should watch out for, like tough competition or economic bumps in the road. Now you know.
All right. Very, very easy, right? So strengths and weaknesses, those are internal. That's unique to the organization. The opportunities, they are external. You understand me? As well as the threats, they are external. But we're going to talk about that some more. So we were looking at PNP. PNP went into the election with 14 seats. They walked out having won back a lot of their traditional seats and so on. Right? So when we look at PNP, some people say they're not a strength. But let us look at PNP in a nutshell, and then we'll get there, right? So the first thing we look at is that PNP has a loyal base, right? Them have the community group, them have the women organization, them have the UE, which is the intellectual ghetto. They have the civic groups. They have the media. They school their children. They pass on information. Well, if a community engagement stuff, PNP does all of that. So those things work for them. It's their strengths, right? Somebody say, I am learning steady. Never heard of SWOT before. I am so happy to hear. If anybody's ever heard of SWOT before, please put it. If you've never heard of SWOT before, please put no. If you've heard of it before, put yes. If you've never heard of SWOT analysis, put no. So I did business. So this was something I did in my courses. You understand me, in studying business. But it's used. It's a widely known thing. Somebody say, yep. Andre Lee say yes. Anthony C. Mister. All right, good. So Doreen says no. Beverly, no. All right. So if I even two individuals there are more, some other folks saying no, some saying yes. Somebody says, steady, don't go too deep in this as you're giving them ideas. No, I won't go too deep in this conversation. Big up yourself, say with Electro Kata. You understand me saying nope? Well, so there we go. Rose Henry did management as well. So she says yes, she knows about SWOT analysis. So we won't be doing that, Fernando. You'll see where we will be going with this thing tonight, right? I used this on Mark Golden some time ago, but we're going to be using it more often as we delve more into certain political issues, right? So let us look at the weaknesses now within the PNP, right? This is a part of who they are. Please go ahead and hit the like button if you have not already done so. All you got to do is just double tap your screen. Just double tap your screen and that will register as a like, or you can go ahead and just, press the three buttons at the top right hand corner of your screen and that should take us to the like. So let's do that right now. Some more people, just double tap your phone screen like this if you're using a mobile screen. PNP, I know you're supposed to be here tonight because I'm talking about your folks. Yes, we are. So we are saying at this point that Dawes is a threat to Mark Golden. So we could talk in a food language, but we're getting there, right? So we talked about the strengths of the PNP a while ago. Now let's talk about the weaknesses of the PNP, right? The PNP, they focus on just winning seats, but they don't focus on governance. So it's always poor governance with them. That's the reason why they are in an opposition again for the third consecutive term since time, because people get smarter now, right? So what are the weaknesses? You can show me, you can type some other weaknesses that PNP has, don't just depend on steady alone. So what else do we have? They focus on the party and not on the country. You saw me do that thing today with Dr. Andrew Holness. Michael Manley was a great party leader, but he was a bad country leader. Dr. Andrew Holness is a great party leader and perhaps an even greater country leader. Right? So the people that we're looking at, somebody said they buy the 14 seats. We've heard a lot about it. Right? So great. We're not looking at country leaders because I don't see no country leader over in a PNP right now. And just so that we don't mix it up. We see Dawes a push up him head. Yes, he might entertain a few people who think politics is entertainment. But one of the things we're going to do, is that we're going to come up with some benchmarks as to what we want to see in any leader. What is going to come from the JLP side or the PNP side, because in 2026, a few things anybody we're going to look at, they have to have, right? You have to show strong potential to manage the economy. You have to show strong potential to manage crime. You have to show that you can handle yourself in the geopolitical space, right? And I won't get into that because that's not what we're discussing tonight, but we're going to narrow it down and then we're going to look at the people who are contending for leadership. So let's go back on track, right? So the things of weaknesses in the PNP, they don't have a good party leader. They have a weak leader. They don't have anybody that looks like a good country leader at this point, right? Then there's the internal fighting in the PNP, right? Then there is the corruption in the PNP. Even when PNP in a power, PNP corruption is still rife within Jamaica. Then PNP is a big old liar party, right? They will spread false information and false narratives, right? They will block progress, such as Portmore. They will fight down anything that they believe is of a political disadvantage to them. Because like I said before, for them problem is that, like Michael Manley, they were only schooled to win elections. They weren't schooled to govern anything. So those are their weaknesses. Lack of ideas. Nothing fresh coming out of PNP. Right? So, but I want to talk about the opportunities now, because this is where you have to pay attention in order to understand this part. So the first two parts of the SWOT is easy. The threat is also easy, but when it comes down to the opportunities part of it, that part now can be a little more technical. So when you're looking at opportunities where SWOT is concerned, just to make it easy, you look at weaknesses in your competitors, right? And you probably can look at stuff like new technologies that you can leverage. So for instance, Dawes just came on the scene. Dawes is a young politician. But Dawes was able to use TikTok to his advantage, right? Running up to the election. He was able to do that, right? Somebody like a Big Rob was looking good for the role, but Big Rob was not so much of a big social media presence. And social media is a big thing for a lot of people right now. So there was opportunities there. So they were able to capitalize on that because that was in the external environment and anybody could have jumped on it, right? Also, when you look at some JLP who lost their seats, right? Somebody like, I would know the vote buying was a big part of it. We're not ruling it out. But we're just looking at it politically, right? So people are saying money, right? But somebody like a Dunn, we heard how he was going to win and Dayton had no chance. But Dunn didn't pull through, right? Nomination day, he was looking great, but PNP still found a way to jump in. And some people are saying that they use money. And we know that vote buying is a big part of how PNP function. Let's hear what the people are saying in the chat, right? Somebody say, can't even handle themselves in parliament. They are corrupted, them ignorant, liars, them miserable. Steady, the current problems the PNP are facing has to do with leadership. Yes, leadership. So they don't have a great leader right now, and likely there will be an infighting for leadership because I saw somebody saying that Julian praised Mark Golding for the amount of seats they won, and they're still calling the election close. But considering where they're coming from, I guess that serves as some kind of consolation. It's up to them to see it how they want to see it, right? At least he did better than Phillips, right? But the opportunities were all out there. So let's talk about it. Opportunities is about recognizing what you could use for your benefit based on what is happening in the external environment, right? That's what opportunity is all about. So they wanted East Portland, right? Then bring Vibes Cartel, go a conference, right? Then bring Ralph Gonzalez, go over there. And I can tell you though, when we hear Isa talk about, the lack of opportunities for the youth and the emphasis on education, and that's whether he was going to do it or not. But when he said that, right, I know that action and was, she did up on the road and she did this and she did that. But I guess he's in the constituency. He was saying those things and we saw what we saw. We know Ann used to do a whole heap of road. So in my mind, I'm saying, what did they recognize? He was able to speak on that. I'm not saying because we hear what happened already. We heard that people went in by night, pay people their money, dip them finger in a ink. You understand me? Allegedly, right? We heard that all of that stuff took place. And, when I get back seats, again, a lot of these seats, they were traditionally PNP seats, right? But big up to the politicians that held on to the traditionally PNP seats, right? People like Tova Hamilton. You understand me? People like Crystal Lee, Rhoda Crawford, and there are some more, right? So I heard about what happened over Norman Dunn. A few months before that election, somebody called and said there is a particular division that we don't feel like he's paying attention to. You understand me? And the Chris Brown was running in that particular place and he lost by a narrow margin. Now, I can't verify the validity of the claims, but when you look at how close that election was, so somebody may have identified the opportunities, or Brown may have identified the opportunity in that particular constituency. So sometimes you attend to a lot of things, but you overlook other things. So that's what the opportunities is all about, leveraging those opportunities, right? So Big Rob was looking good. He was looking confident, right? But Dawes won that seat. Now, in the same breath, this was the Dawes who block road upon the Prime Minister. And as much as we, the decent Jamaicans, we know that that was very indecent of Dawes. A lot of people, they like the idea of him blocking the road and the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister standing down. So let's talk about it. Dawes has presence. He's a brilliant individual. He's rude and he's defiant. And some people are entertained by it. And one of the things that we notice is that Dawes is at every conference with Mark Golding. That one that they kept, that in which they were supposed to answer to the fraudulent stuff with the tax fraud at UHWI. It was Dawes who took over that conference, right? And Dawes is a man who will lie with a straight face. Somebody tell me the other day, say out of Dawes and another popular politician. You understand me? They don't know which one wicked. I declined to call that politician's name. You understand me? They say that. So Dawes is a man who lie with a straight face. So more and more, and then we said they moved Damien from the PAAC and they want Dawes. So the conversation is being had. As a matter of fact, if you remember a few weeks ago, Cliff Hughes also, when he was talking to this gentleman on his show, I don't remember if I cat the man name or whatever the man name, right? But Cliff Hughes, he was going through the whole idea of Damien Crawford looking like the leader of the party right now, right? But Cliff Hughes say, I've been hearing that people are saying Dawes, because you know, presence, tall man, doctor man, him combative, him speak with a straight face, he's commanding, and all of that. So even the other day in a parliament when Dawes chose to disrespect Desmond, you know, Dawes willfully, deliberately made that move, you know, right? He willfully, deliberately made that move to disrespect the elder statesman, but it was his way of saying, it's a new day now, I am here, look at me, because Dawes love attention, you know. So like a Manley, you know, Dawes look like a peacock personality, you know, him love the attention. Thank you very much, Kata B. It was intentional. Anybody else, if you believe that disrespect was intentional, Dawes is a brilliant man. Dawes also knew that people would have had a problem with it. He knew he wanted to spark the outrage, but when you look at some of them, such as Tricky Nicky and the rest of them in the parliament, they were quite entertained by it. Right? They liked it because for them, this represents pushing back at the JLP, especially over for them. Somebody say him out of order. Somebody said that one sweet me, so that one sweet me. You understand me? Somebody say, Dawes always disrespect. Look what he did to the PM. Exactly. Somebody say he's going to fall on his own sword. Thank you. So what I am doing, you know, is that may I bring him to the front of the line from early, you know. Somebody said Dawes can't help himself. He's just that guy. You can see said him naturally feisty. Now, this is why I talk about this dude named Dawes, right? We see how the world is running now. We've seen in the JLP, we know what we want out of a politician and what to expect. We're no longer in the dark like before, where we can have a Manley just come trick. We put on 2 suits, talk well and stir up and rile up the crowd and we go and vote for them. No, we want more than that. You really have to show us that you are the person who could handle the country. Look how much things that we got through. Raphael, Beryl, Melissa, pandemic, all of those things, and still have a NIR of 6.8 billion. You understand me? So we have to, so we have to take into consideration everything Favour was able to say. And one of my favorite parts of that budget speech is when Favour said, The minimum requirement for a country to have in NIR, in other words, in reserves to be able to purchase, to import goods, is to have 12 months worth of supply. And she say, if we should go by the gross right now, Jamaica has 36 months. You understand me? So big up to Jamaica, big up to the JLP for doing this. And she was able to factually say that it was not the same thing under the PNP. In a 92 and 93, we had a negative NIR. So we have to make them understand, 12 weeks rather, yes, 12 weeks, right? We have to make them understand, so 12 weeks is the minimum they need to have. Thank you very much, Electro. You understand me? And we have 36 weeks, right? So that's a beautiful thing. I think I'm talking good right now. 152 watching. I'm only seeing 48 likes. Please go ahead and double tap your screen. Get me to 100 like, man, because I talk good. Me no one get caught up in that information. So we're still talking about the opportunities. So they seize those opportunities, right? But Mark Golden saw Dawes as the opportunity to win seats. Then go for Nikisha Burchell to win seats, right? They draw for ISAT, even though I'm a criminal and we never like it. Criminal convict, we never like it. They put him over there because ISAT was coming off the high of, getting Vibes Cartel, freed and all of that. And a lot of people saw that as a great thing. So they went hard. They went in with their money. They went in with everything. But I was saying, is that, speaking of that, I call it politics tournament. I said Nikisha the 66. And everybody knows that I sat Buchanan the Deuce Blank already. If you know, you know, right? And now we know we play tonight, And everybody knows that Bunting are the double blank. Because if Bunting not block the game, Bunting can't win. That's why. That's why Bunting have to try to get out everybody, right? So everybody knows that when it comes down to it, the biggest threat to Dawes, is Bunting. Bunting is the biggest threat to everybody. Because in the domino game, Bunting is a double blank. The only way Bunting can reach anywhere is if the game black. So him have to block Crawford, him have to block Julian, him have to block Dawes. The mind sharp him a plan for block Mark Golden right now. Bunting is a double blank. Right? And of course, Nikisha the 66, right? The poser in the party. You understand me? I show up cleavage and all of them something there. You understand me? Hit the like button because you don't know so we talk right for the show tonight. You understand me? So, but the same opportunity that Mark Golden used Dawes for, it seems to me that this opportunity has now become a threat for Mark Golden. So, Mark Golden lost the local government election, right? And Mark Golden lost the general election, so that are two elections. So in keeping with PNP tradition, right? Golden is supposed to go on yard by now. Golden is supposed to have his ticket put on for go back to England by now, right? Because I don't see them saying go for a third election now. The only contemplation right now with Golden, is that Golden can attract donors to the party. So it's going to come down to if who do they have can Dawes attract donors. And Bunting being this old, if Bunting now going to be the leader for the next election, then when? Because by then Bunting go all. So them have some real issues that they need to sort out over there, So we're saying while we watch what's going on, the leader is not looking like the leader so much. Because I have another thing I want to throw into the conversation. Lisa, good looking, brilliant. Well, she wasn't as controversial as Dawes. But Lisa was more liked than Dawes by the general populace. But again, we talk about the weakness in the PNP. For them, it's all about party politics. So it's up to us now to understand the dynamics that are happening in the PNP and to understand that this party isn't ready to take over leadership in a Jamaica in a no way, shape, or form. See, Mr. is saying that's the problem with the PNP. So what will happen when Bunting chase out all the better persons? He alone cannot run the party, much more the country. That's what we're saying. So even though them are fronting at the parliament and Dawes is trying to show himself as that person, you understand me? Let's see what's going to happen. Because one of the things on social media that is said, and this is not popular yet, right? Is that, yes, they will sell out Dawes for Damien because right now, Dawes is looking more serious than Damien. So me see even Damien now try to be even more serious about what is happening. But Damien would have already clowned himself out for the party. So now you have Dawes. I remember, Dawes the other day when he looked on Brother Desmond and him say, all you, what you are doing at the parliament? You understand me? I said to you, what you are doing at the parliament? You understand me? You could have said this disdain for the elder statesman, because you understand me? Them no come from struggle. Disrespect to the elder statesman. Somebody said PNP cannot come back to power anytime in the next 20 years. I hope that is the case. Somebody say yes, but Dawes definitely don't have no respect for anyone. So we Jamaican with discipline will not accept that man as PM for Jamaica. I love that. Great statement right there. So we're not looking at him as any leader, right? But when we look at the threats, we're looking at, the challengers, the competitors. So we're saying, we know Jamaica now going to want Dawes, but Dawes is looking at like a competition for Mark Golding. So we just want to say that we recognize that for what it is. You see me? And we are not in support of it. Somebody say, ha ha ha, you're rough. And that's a MDL. What did MDL say? You understand me? Somebody said, Dawes is a sourpuss. Yeah. So disrespectful. As a matter of fact, I think I should use the opportunity to play his tactical apology. You remember what the DPP said the other day? 1 second. You remember what the DPP said the other day? She said that even though Jolly and Silvera decided to plead guilty to manslaughter, right? It should be rejected because it was not a genuine move. It was more a tactical move. So this tactical apology that Dawes has tendered to Brother Desmond, no, that action that he took in the parliament, that was a reflection of who he is as a person. That's a reflection on Dawes' character. And see it here, so. Let's listen to this together and tell me if this even sounds like one sincere apology. You understand? Let's listen to this.
Although I privately apologized to him, which he accepted, I still think that it is necessary to offer a public apology, as it was out of character and it is not.
It's very much in a character. We've seen this in Dawes long time ago, right? Look what you did with the Honorable Prime Minister, right? Dirty nigger behavior you are going with in the parliament, right? So this was an intentional move, but I want us to see the play in this too. You see this apology right here, so is that him him ruffle some feathers with him behavior the other day, so he now wants to come back and play the good guy because he wants to be seen that way. But this is all political, folks. Don't fall for it, because it won't be long again before in true colors come out.
And the principle that I subscribe to of first do no harm, it clearly upset him, and that was not the intention.
First do no harm, or you come out and you say so much things about drill, knowing that you're a lion and you decided to double down. That's just a running mouth. Let's hear what he has to say.
It is a fact that Minister Mackenzie's grandson and my own son are not just classmates but friends. And I think that it set a bad example, and I would not want it to affect them or anyone else who would be looking on at the parliamentary proceedings. So again, I'm offering my unreserved and unqualified apologies to Mr. Mackenzie.
So when him say his son and brother Mackenzie's grandson, they're friends. So he offers his apology. I don't. That's not. Somebody say out of character, my back foot. No way. That's Dawes. That's Dawes, right? So he did what he did. He said what he said was very, very distasteful. You understand me? This morning I saw something where Juliet Holness had to be set in Bunting Street in the parliament again. So, all these new politicians, they come on board and they want to make their mark, and they feel that being disrespectful is the way to go. So for us, the people who are looking on, you understand me, we must understand that we can't accept them for who they are and how they are moving. But to go to the whole thing, so that he seems to be a threat to Mark Golding. And one point I wanted to make as well is this. If Dawes was not gaining momentum in the party, then why does Mark Golding keep bringing Dawes to these press conferences? Mark Golding turn up looking droopy at the press conference while Dawes is there. So, it's just something to observe. The next thing is that you will know that it is said that Damon Crawford is not from the risers part of the party, right? He is from the one PNP side, but Damon is, of course, a part of them. So now that we know that Damon Crawford has an interest in going up for party leader, such as he stated the other day, is it that Mark Golding are trying to block the game on Damon Crawford by bringing Dawes and Nikisha Crawford everywhere they go? You see the play, people? They don't want anything to end up with a Crawford hand, because Crawford represents the side of the party that is not too happy with them. So is this the game that they're playing to make sure that they keep out Crawford out of the thing? You understand me? I think I want water, so me get it. You understand me? Is this their way of trying to keep out Crawford out of the thing? Things to think about, things to ponder, folks. Think I'm talking good. I'm seeing 162 available now. I'm only seeing 69 likes. I need 31 individuals to go ahead and double tap your screen just like this. Double tap your screen and get us. Double tap your screen and get us to 100 likes. It's very, very easy. Let's go ahead and do that. Right? So, this now look too good for Marky G right now, because clearly they're not going to set him up for a third term. Right? But the party will have a lot of things that they will need to ponder. But let us not forget, above anything else, and we will look like we're not even going to do an hour, because we went through some things. I probably just explain SWOT again for the people who came in late. Somebody says strategy. Mark wants it to look like they are in unity. Of course. Some time ago, I don't know what the setting was, but Mark Golding tell the people himself, listen to me. Right now, we need to focus on winning the election. After the election is won, then anything after that, pretty much. He said it. Right? So, PNP party mess up. Right? So, crackling witches. You understand me? PNP party isn't ready to take over. Right? The other day, Faval did the budget presentation. Julian Robinson did his today at as usual, is usually nothing of true impact. Taxing the sweet juice, them, it not gonna really make a difference. And of course, it's going to leave poor people out of the equation as usual. Because as you know, the poor is PNP's political pawn. The PNP has no plan to govern a Jamaica where the citizens are building themselves up, where the middle class is growing and thriving. They don't know how to do that. That's why they borrowed from communism and they came up with the democratic socialism, because they figured that the easy way out is to not do much for the people who support them, but use them as political pawns. And so people think that it is okay to sell their votes because they can't expect anything more, or they shouldn't expect anything more from their leaders. And the JLP has proven that very wrong. Somebody say, Anthony C. Mr. MDL, everything that you've just said about Nikisha Burchell has to do with leadership. They have a huge deficit in relation to that. They are unable to attract young, bright minds. That is it. And anybody they want will have to fall in place. Sometimes said Dawes is a fool, so older people are dispensable. And so he is essentially saying they would not get the same level of care from him. See it right there, so. And the older people are coming from an era where politicians are supposed to be respectful. Somebody said Julian wasted Parliament's time throwing words at Andrew today. Thank you very much. You understand me? As usual, even Julian sidelined, not that he was much of a presence or a prospect in the first place. Somebody said Julian was being feisty instead of giving solutions to Favor's budget. That is it. And folks, now that Favor name come up, I just, it's always my belief that sometimes they just need to leave certain things to the ladies, right? So Favor may not be the loudest and the strongest talker in the parliament, but Favor is on her job. Favor is managing stuff. Favor is doing this thing as if she's been doing it for a very long time. And as I said before, I just love the part when she talk about how the NIR is looking right now and how that can help as a buffer. That's why we should not party with rent, such as PNP. We see one Tapanaris come out the other day about my food or whatever, and he was suggesting that we could use the NIR for other purposes. No, not in this. Not in this very volatile geopolitical space that we are in right now. The USA at war, oil prices going up, right? And to know that we have a government that has had the foresight to put things in place so that Jamaica can now become the envy of the Caribbean. And I want to talk two stories in a one, because I see the one me and Motley push up her head like she thinks she want his style. Dr. Andrew Hollis, right? I was listening to their campaign the other day. Me see me and Motley are gone, but you need to understand that Dr. Andrew Holness is the best leader in the Caribbean right now, right out of Jamaica. Yeah, so big up Dr. Andrew Holness. The people are talking in the chat, so let me take some chats because we're getting ready to close, but I got to hear what the people have to say right now. What else do we have? Julian wasted the parliament's time. He was being faced. Somebody said, tell Dawes to keep his apology to himself. His behavior is nasty. You understand me? Block road pan the PM. Behavior nasty, of course. We need 20 more likes, folks, as we get ready to close up the show. Somebody said, whoa, that is classless. Mackenzie is a senior statesman and has served well under all parties. Even hardcore PNP Jamaicans love him. That is it. Big up, brother Desmond, same way. Thank you for your years of service to this country. And I met this like a facey boy because he ain't gonna work hard for name doctor, but based on him behavior, a facey boy behavior him have. Right? People that they like to look down on have more respect and decorum than them. You understand me? Uncouth. Let's hear what the people are saying as we get ready to close. Somebody said, Anthony C. Bishop said, none of them in PNP is suitable for Prime Minister. Exactly. So it's my way of saying, oh, we will talk about these people, but it's not in the light that we think that these people are ready to take over the reins of leadership in this country. Somebody said, prosperity should be the ambition of every Jamaican, not just the Tapanaris. You see the Tapanaris, them spoil, you know, because the PNP, they cater to them for so long. All the opportunities, all the contracts, all the benefits, it went to them. And for a long time, you know, based on the roads we had to drive on and everything, this short, that short, the third short, no development taking place in the country. We felt, and it's under PNP that many Jamaicans got turned off the electoral process. Because when they saw what PNP did, they realized that it didn't make no sense. Even me, steady, never did I pay no attention to the politics. It was when Dr. Andrew Holness came on the scene and he was doing something fresh. I just started looking at him from the standpoint of a leader, because leadership has always been my thing. Right? But when Andrew Holness hit us with the income tax threshold, when he raised that, I said, no, this man has a plan. But it sounded so profound. It sounded like it could not have been done. It sounded almost impossible, because it's like it's for the first time you feel like the government in the country is really thinking about the regular people. It may have sounded simple, but it was huge. It's not just about how much money people would have been able to save, but it was about the principle of inclusion. Finally, regular people is going to be included. Now, in a Manley time, I need 8 more likes, right? In a Manley time, the word is love. We heard that today. You heard that on the thing that Manley was on today. You understand me? Love. Take care of people. Walk with people. When you check it out, Manley chose his relationship with Castro. Andrew not gonna do that. Andrew come from Spanish Town. Andrew not come from this. Andrew come from where we come from. So that's the reason why somebody like me now get very, very protective of the government, and we're finding all kinds of ways now to unearth the issues in the political space, because I want people to understand that no, we are not going to lightly decide to let PNP come back and take over the country, because you have to understand, you know, Edward Seaga had a great background in finance. He knew how to run an economy. He was able to pick up the pieces from all of the damage and destruction Manley did in the 70s. He was able to do that throughout the 80s. Right? And then the destructive Percival James Patterson came on the scene. And to show you how PNP wicked starting out of Manley, everybody remember say, the same oil business that you hear Favour spoke about in the budget presentation and the Petrojam, that was what happened. Right? PJ had petroleum company, shipping petroleum products to Jamaica duty free, while we have Petrojam. And the only reason PJ had to go is that some big people up at top said, no, him have to resign, he has to go. And PJ understood the art of PNPism so well, and they were all in bed, because PJ is smarter than Manley, you know, right? Well, because they were all in bed with the one another as a party, Manley tell everybody resign, resign, resign. And then he put them all back together. Right? When Manley won again because the Jamaican people or the electorate at the time never did a whole no meds. They brought the man back after all the destruction of the 70s. For those of you who are new here, make sure you subscribe to the show because this is what we talk over here. And I showed that when Manley stepped down, about 10% or about 20%, I'm going to give you the figures soon. Not this show, but another show. And the voting population stopped voting because people, they care. They turn Manley now and look at God, you know. That's why God have to take him. That's why God have to make sure saying sick him out, you know. And he couldn't manage, you know. God make sure saying do that to them because he know Jamaica people them fool, you know. Right? If you think say God not make, if you think of God take away Manley for a week, you make a sad mistake. How could the people be so blind? To the amazement of the world. Right? And the Manley that they praised today was the Manley that failed in the 70s, who came back and apologized in 1989. And in his own words, Manley said, the government is not good at production. I think I have it here, so you know. So for those who don't hear it yet, he said it is clear they're not good at production. So now him understand that he must play the geopolitics the right way, such as we see Andrew Holness doing right now. So what we're saying essentially, you know, Cuba is the example of what we could have become had we not won that bloody 1980 election. Where Manley was trying now to basically bring we under communism because Manley wanted to hold on to power. But I have a theory on Manley, you know. Because Manley was not the upright person that they're trying to make him out to be. And I have a theory on Manley. I'll tell you what the theory is. Everybody know that his dad was the premier. Everybody know Bustamante was their cousin. And they had their ways of working with one another. Electro, you know this history better than me. But the long and the short is that even though his dad was the premier, after independence, Jamaica basically ran the thing for the first 10 years. He never liked that. And so he came on board. People forget that Manley was already divorced 3 times, you know. So Manley was already showing cracks in his character, you know. You understand me? And then Manley came on the scene using personality. Jamaica was producing. He came with Better Must Come. The people fell for it. So the other day, when we saw them come with the whole time come situation, it's like it was so identical to what happened in a Manley's days. Jamaica was willing to sell out the country to the white man, the picnic, the slave master, the ruling class. They were willing to do that. So if you show us some of we black people, we need some conking off our head too, you know, because some of we not smart, you know. The Bible say, you know, my people perish for a lack of knowledge, you know. You understand me, and that has been proven. But anyways, thank God that they lost in 1980 election. Things pick up back in 89. Remember, you know, 89, when they won, Hurricane Gilbert just came. PNP hit Jamaica with zinc scandal, furniture scandal, all kind of scandals, because all they did was focus on themselves. PNP is about party winning. Remember, up at the office, you know, it says, wow, you know, work, organize, win. So the entire part, everything about PNP is about winning. So Manley was trying to turn this thing into something like Cuba and Manley was a lack of people, call state of emergency, and do everything to win, do everything to gain political mileage. But they still present Manley to us as if he's an honorable man. No, Michael Manley was not an honorable man. He did a lot of damage to Jamaica, and it needs to be spoken about. And now we have the real prime minister who deal with Jamaica the right way. We ought to give the man his respect, and it's going to be we and whoever feels it. Then going to come whitewash history, right? and try to overlook the work that is being done by this great prime minister and this great administration. It's not going to happen. Somebody said Manley mouth was just sweet. He could have run a country. I who me here said today say Manley could have run nothing, because if he could have run nothing, then DK would have taken away wife from him. You understand me? He was no leader. As a matter of fact, if you look at the video I put out today and you watch Castro, Manley look like he copied Castro's style too, you know. And big up to MDL for sending me that video same way. You understand me? It was there. When you see how Castro presented himself, and the same thing, Manley wanted to bring a revolution to Jamaica, but the revolution was political in nature. I believe that was his thing for getting on the stage and wanting to lead in the first place. You understand me? Manley was a human catastrophe for Jamaica and the people walking it with them full self. You understand me? Somebody say, let me read some more comments. I'm getting ready to close. You understand? Him say in a 1989 and then PNP here in a 2026 still now I hear. They need to listen to what's going on. Look at Cuba today. You understand me? Talk about the fact that Manley did send enough man go Cuba for go train same way the whole brigadista thing. Enough PNP know about this, you know. All right, so Anthony C. Mr. My fact checker is checking me. He said, no, steady. Better must come in 97 too. We put people first in 1989. Did I miss something on that one? Because I know I always give him better must come. Even last night I did for 1972. But thank you very much, my brother. You understand what I said to you? But Manley really looked like he had somebody say same characteristics as Castro. But no, I saw the real leader in a Castro. You see, Manley a shaken. You understand me? And a makeup nice. Castro had the posture and the presence and the energy and the enthusiasm. Castro looked more natural to me just on that small clip that I actually looked at, right? So Manley was doing every and anything to make sure say win. See that Manley idolized Castro. It was so personal. You can see that. He idolized him. Man, he was not a leader in his own right. I'm even hear from people who work around Manley personally say, Manley, it was about the people he had around him. He could control. You understand me? Those people, he had bad people around him where he could control. Somebody say, Manley send away George Flash and Anthony Brown. You understand me? I believe Anthony Brown is Brown Burke's dad, and Brown Burke in a parliament same way. Brown Burke at time for you go for your yard too. You understand me? Somebody said it was said that Manley was the one who brought the ideas of blocking roads. Absolutely, it was Manley's ideas. Right? Me know people who work in the office who make me know say this whole idea of going out to protest about this, that, and the third, Manley was doing that from in his days. So these are all PNP ideas. They are political extremists. Remember, say Castro and the revolution, why Castro was able to take over Cuba in the 1950s, you know. So Manley believed that Manley was walking hand in hand with somebody who wanted to continue, or who wanted to reign or to gain and retain power on the basis of force power, force it upon the people, give the people no choice, such as what you see happening in Cuba right now. Manley was about that life. So when they tell us how charming he was and that, you know, all his accomplishments came from his great ideas and so on, right? I believe that even I think it was the president of Singapore who came and took our ideas. He discredited him. Perkins talk about the fact that he wasn't smart. Manley was really dumb as a bag of rocks. Right? So when you see a politician, you understand me, of the caliber of a Dr. Andrew Holness, just understand that when people talk about Manley being the greatest, a lot of those people have no knowledge of history. A lot of them are plain hypocritical. You understand me? Enough of them is pure ignorance. This is such an ignorant thing. You understand me? Very charismatic leader. Charisma can people will make charisma. People will follow charismatic leaders and go astray. You see it with Vibes Cartel. You understand me? You see it with people like a Jim Jones. People gravitate to charisma. So, no, it was his natural charisma, his natural talent that got him there. But in this day and age, charisma is not going to sell, right? What we want is a leader who will continue to lead Jamaica in the right direction and developing the country, especially for the common man. You understand me? So PNP want this country to get back to the top of Norris, but Dr. Andrew Holness has already said, hey, we're going to make it better for everybody. It's for the people now to hold on to them blessing. You understand me? Dumb as a bag of rocks. Of course, he was dumb as a bag of rocks, Erica, Katabi. You understand me? Somebody say, grand evening, peace and love. Big up yourself, same way, Royston. Somebody say, all the PNP tumbling down the hill for what they did to Andrew. And it ought to be. You understand me? So in wrapping up, folks, we talk about, Dawes being, it look like Dawes is Mark Golden's death sentence politically right now, because more and more he's looking like the leader of the party. Somebody said it was the only political leader of Jamaica literally run out Jamaican citizens. That is it. Tell them take 5 flights a day. And he probably was doing that with the same theory that I was using a while ago. I say him just feel like I'm father country and they were entitled to it. So he wanted it back in any way he could have gotten it. That is just how me look at it. Study some of them know it, but just dumb. Yeah, man, wait, because listen, and I want to PNP be talk and argue with behind the scenes, And I can tell you this. A lot of PNP, they don't have a rhyme or reason why they still continue to support Michael Manley. You understand me? But we support Dr. Andrew Holness. Lion! We support Dr. Andrew Holness, and that's what them know. You understand me? So we talk about the SWOT analysis. What we said it was SWOT means strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats. You understand me? We look at the strengths of the PNP. We look at their weakness. You understand me? Their strengths such as them have a good base, right? And a lot of people are loyal to them, and they have the civic group them, and they have a lot of people, on their side. You understand me? We talk about their weakness, the whole heap of infighting, the leadership issues, the corruption in the party, the whole heap of lies, misinformation, disinformation. We talked about that. We talk also about the opportunities. You understand me? And we saw where they put some big names into some seats and they got them out, like how they got out action, and that was external, right? So strengths, weakness, internal to the party, and the opportunities is the parts that were, you understand me? It was just in the environment and they took advantage of it. They used technology where they could. Them buy votes, you understand me? They got popular people, strong people, vocal people. And so they were able to get back a lot of the seats that they had. Again, that ties right into the strength of having people who are traditionally loyal to them. But we say the same opportunity that him used Dawes for to win, that seat over there from Big Rob. People are also looking at Dawes and what Dawes bring to the table. You understand me? Individually, and now people are saying that Dawes looks more like the leader. Mark Golden has him everywhere. So now we're saying that it looks like Dawes is a threat to Mark Golden. And so Dawes may just be his political death sentence. All we know is that Mark Golden's political death sentence must be signed. We don't know if a Dawes going to do it. We don't know if a Damien going to do it. We don't know if a Bunting going to do it. But from all indications, it does not look like we're going to have the British guy as leader going into the next election. But whatever the situation is, one thing we know for sure, you understand me, is that the JLP will remain that party that continues to run this country. You see what I said to you? Because the JLP is simply the better party. And lest we forget, folks, lest we forget,
Thank you, Father God.
lest we forget, come on, I want
There's no mistake. Every time the country fall into crisis, they call the GLP fix it,
big up
and
Dorothy,
then
big up everybody.
PNP get it, mash it up. But I said to you, there must come a time in this country when we break that, where you give the GLP a long run to fix the country once and for all.
Make it play again. Green on the chat, people. Like, subscribe.
Every time the country fall into crisis, they call the GLP fix it, and then PNP get it, mash it up. But I said to you,
Thank you for the green on the chat.
there must come a time
So
in
I
this
labor
country
right. Big up Anthony,
when
big
we
up Ray
break that,
Hutchinson, big up
where
MDL,
you give the GLP a long run
Slicer, big up.
to fix the country once and for all.
Yes, folks. Let's give the JLP a long run to fix Jamaica once and for all. This has been the Steady Show. Thank you for coming out tonight, family.
If you want
Green on the chat right now.
Once the boss, if you know, then you know. No pet PNP, call them and no bet.
Big up everybody. Gotta be big up same way.
22 years, them no stop.
MDL.
From Michael
Big up.
Manley straight to Finsack. Mark Gold in him at the worst of the lot.
Paulette, big up same way. Rose Henry, Black Obsidian, Gotta be, Slicer, Bentley, big up yourself. Gary, big up yourself. I like it. Green up a chat, man. Anthony C. Mister, big up yourself. Big up everybody. One Steady Show, Show Labor Rights. Mirror, big up yourself, same way. Kerry Jackson, big up yourself. Doreen, hey Hutchinson. Let me repeat the name there. Prudence, big up yourself. Josetta, big up yourself. Blessings, family.
One of them a devil and them forget mine. Get the 4 term, it a go blow
One
them
Dr.
mind.
Joles.
Blow them mind, it a go blow them mind.
Steady family, big up yourself. Heart of love, never short of love. Have a great night, everybody.